everybody. Welcome to another Premium Edition Lounge. It's episode 5, and that's right, it's the Premium Edition Lounge. I'm Zach.
And I'm Seth.
And I'm Barry.
Yeah, and we're the Classic Gaming Brothers and Barry.
That's right.
For those who've never listened to the Premium Edition Lounge, this is the time where Barry turns on the Premium Edition light that's in our yes. studio. It is paid for by Premium Edition, but it's only allowed to be turned on when Barry's in the room. So when Barry's not in the room, we have to record in darkness, which is always fun and would explain why I have a lot of paper cuts. But we're always happy when Barry's here because it means we get to see things.
That's right. It's also a light that is designed in the Premium Edition logo. So it's not just any sort of light. It is a bright neon light that glows in the Premium Edition colors.
Yeah, nice red and white glow. It's very pretty.
Almost kind of like we're in a crime scene, but...
Wait, you mean you're not?
But I mean, that's probably just because our studio looks like a crime scene and nothing to do with the light.
Well, Barry, it's great to have you on again. I'm happy that you're joining us. You know, started off easy. What video games have you been recently playing?
Just did Dragon Quest III HD remake. I just beat it. I'm just in the post game now.
Nice.
And before that, I just did Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Oh, how'd you like that?
I did. I enjoyed it. It's longer than I was expecting. I think it's like the longest in the series. Feels like a little padded towards the end, but I did. I enjoyed it. I know it's story heavy. There's a lot of dialogue. Some people were confused, like, why is there dialogue? It's Mario and Luigi game. It's an RPG. It's more RPG than previous games, but I did enjoy it. There's a little padding, but I had fun. By the end, I was ready for it to end. It wasn't like one of those where I'm like, oh, I can't wait for more of this, but I definitely enjoyed the journey. It was a lot of fun, and I do recommend it. If you're unsure, I mean, you could always do the Superstar Saga on NSO.
Oh yeah,
and see if you like the series. But yeah, I did enjoy Brothership, and playing some Vampire Survivors, which we'll be doing a review over at Nintendo Fuse, doing the Ode to Castlevania DLC.
Oh, that's
awesome.
A
big DLC. And Final Fantasy 14 just dropped a new patch last week, so I've been busy with that. New story, new raids, a lot of fun with it.
Great.
And some Pokemon TCG Pocket. Come on, I think everyone's playing that right now.
Yeah, I think everyone and their mom is playing that right now. It seems it's a very popular game. I haven't actually tried it out yet, but I'm usually
Pokemon?
Yeah, it's the TCG
Pocket.
mobile game.
It's a new one. Yeah, it's
okay.
It's a more streamlined. It's like Marvel Snap kind of deal, but for Pokemon. It's free and it's fun. So like, all right, I'll try it.
Yeah, I'll probably download it. I'm like always behind in mobile games in general, but that's
Did you hear about the Pokemon Sleep game?
Yeah.
I only learned about it because there was a guy who was on a YouTube show that I watch, and he spent hundreds of dollars on it.
Really?
It doesn't seem like a game that you need to spend hundreds of dollars on, but which is, I mean, it's a game that it just helps you sleep, but I guess you could spend hundreds of dollars on it. So
I probably would have played it had it not come out right as I had a child. So I'm like, oh, you know what? This is the worst time. The worst time for this game to come out.
Well, you would have lost. They're like, we don't know how you lost this game, but you did. Your Pokemon is in fact dead. So I think the last time that you came on was for spring of 2024, and now it is fall of 2024, and so has been a fall direct that has been done, and we're here to talk a little bit about it and go through how everything's been going on at Old Premium Edition.
Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure to be here. So thank you so much for having me. It's been a crazy year. It has really been a crazy year. We did a summer direct too, which I didn't get a chance to come on, and the summer's crazy. And I'll tell you, writing 3 of these things and putting on 3 shows a year, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's like, oh man.
Did you do a summer last year?
No, we did 3 last year as well, but we did the State of Premium for PlayStation, and then we did a spring and we did a fall.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So we did do 3, but the State of Premium was a smaller little one, which wasn't as bad, like in terms of like production. Like it wasn't as in depth. You know, we were like, we're getting a lot of games, and we're like, we got to do something with this stuff. We gotta get the stuff out. And we don't want to make our developers wait too long. So we're like, all right, let's try and to get things moving. So that's why we did a summer one this year. Next year, I mean, we could just do a spring and fall again. There could be a summer. I don't know. Like we're still in discussing. We have a lot of games for 2025 though. We have a lot of great games.
That's awesome. It's great. You know, you guys are on Series 10, so it's
Series 10.
Big deal. I think when we first had Barry on, about 4 years ago.
Series 3 was closing for pre-order.
Yeah.
3. Because that's when I met you up in Retro World.
Yes,
We were
yes.
there
right.
right before Series 3 launched. We had just done Series 1 and 2, and 3 was in the works. Or 3 had just launched actually, because we showed off the 3 direct at that show during the panel, and that was like crazy to think like how long ago that
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah. Well, hey, time flies when you're having fun, right?
It does. It feels like we were just babies back then, and how many games we've put out since, and how many great developers we've gotten to work with and assist, and oh, it's just wild to think back to then.
At the time, you guys were just putting out Switch games, and since then, you've evolved to NES and PS4 and 5, and you're just moving on. It's pretty awesome, and it's going to be cool to see what you guys have in store. And that being said, we can talk a bit about the direct that you guys did back. It was on October 28th, so it was a bit ago, but you still got some pre-orders coming up and got some stuff that's available. And I know that there were some updates for some past pre-orders. I don't know how much of the news had changed, but at the time when you guys did the direct, Wife Quest, I think all the pre-orders had at the time shipped.
Mm-hmm.
Super Dungeon Maker proofs were arrived and everything was ordered, and you were just kind of going to the next steps, I think.
Yep. Yeah, we're waiting for things to arrive. Like that's the worst part. Nothing we do is in-house. It's like especially like the Switch cards have to be ordered from Nintendo. They're ordered. It's when are they on the line, and then Nintendo has to ship it. But they don't ship it to us. They ship it to our assembly plant because Nintendo needs an approved assembly plant that they says like a list. So our assembly plant is approved by Nintendo. So they get the carts, and then everything else like the proofs of the box and the manual and the slip covers, all that stuff. That's being ordered from a different company that does it. They do a higher quality than Nintendo does, and that's all being shipped to the assembly plant too. So we're stuck at this point waiting for all that to arrive before the assembly plant can then assemble our games and then ship it from there to our warehouse, and then we can ship it out to everyone.
And that's outside of things that, like, as we've talked about in previous times, we've had you on with lot checks and stuff like that, correct?
Oh, that lot check happens first. In order to be on Nintendo's assembly plant, it has to pass physical lot check. Just like in order for it to get on the eShop, it has to pass the digital lot check.
Right.
They're two separate processes. So the game has to be submitted to Nintendo. Nintendo has to approve the ROM that's sent, that's saying, yes, this is not buggy, we've tested it, we approve it, and then only then can it be ordered. So the game's approved, and that's what took Super Dungeon Maker so long, is that the update happened last December, but Fire Chick is only 2 people, and when they submitted it to Nintendo, Nintendo kept finding errors because it's such a detailed game with all the creations and the different modifications you can do, and especially as people started playing it and the update was live, they start, when a game gets released now, it's like beta testing. It's like all these players get to submit bug reports. So Nintendo kept sending it back and saying, no, we found this error, we found this error. So it took them months before they could get it past physical lot check.
Their error checking can get pretty, I think you talked about it before, it can get pretty vigorous where like they'll do random button combinations you might not even think about, and if that generates an error, that's, send it right back.
And our goal that we try and do is to have all of our games past that point, past the physical lot check before we put up for pre-order. And Super Dungeon Maker, the base game, had already done that, but we wanted to wait and get the added content, and it was that added content that had to be repassed through, and that's where the bugs and stuff were found, because they added a crap ton of stuff to that game, and we wanted to make sure our physical had all that content on cart for everybody, so you got the complete game.
I know, I believe you also mentioned in the direct that Lonesome Village and Anuchard, the proofs were arriving.
Same state, they've been ordered. Super Dungeon Maker, Lonesome Village, and Anuchard are all coming together. So all 3 games are ordered from Nintendo in the same order, so they're all going to come in the same shipment, and all the packaging has been ordered at the exact same time from our manufacturer. So they're all going to get to our assembly plant at the same time. So then the assembly plant will assemble all 3 games, and all 3 games will start shipping out at around the same time for pre-orders, and then we'll do the second chance sales, probably like, a week or so apart from each other to give each game that extra coverage, and it's not just like, here's everything out.
Yeah. And you mentioned that Series 8 titles were in finalization, Series 9 art and such was in finalization, and the PlayStation Series 1 and 2, for 1, the discs were ordered, and for 2, the art and production is being finalized. So, and I think you guys mentioned in the direct, and just important for anyone also listening, is that you guys go in series order, so that's why, certain things are in certain steps.
Yeah, we do the older ones first, first, and like that's why WifeQuest was sitting and waiting on Super Dungeon Maker. We try to order the games together because it's a little bit of a discount for us to, order more in bulk. But we couldn't wait anymore with WifeQuest, so WifeQuest was ordered on its own. Because WifeQuest is paired with Super Dungeon Maker, that's Series 6. So that's why Super Dungeon Maker is now paired with Series 7, Uncharted and Lonesome. Sunshine, which is also part of Series 7. And the reason that one was delayed as well, unforeseen, Camp Sunshine wasn't actually released on the Switch until October 8th digitally. So we had to wait an entire year because we can't manufacture a cart with a game that doesn't exist even on the eShop. They don't do that. The game had to be running on the Switch, and it took that long for them to port it. Now that it's out in the Switch, now we're letting it have a little bit of time to test it because there could be bugs found. We want to make sure the right version's on the cart. So Sunshine is now in the next set to be ordered. We're giving them a little bit of time, and then we'll be submitting it for physical lot check soon.
But that's great that the port is out and available. I mean, I know that's a big step in getting the game out there. So
there was complications. Like, it was supposed to be done last year, which is why we put it up for pre-order, because they told us it was going to be good. Because Camp Sunshine is an older game. Older games ported to any newer hardware, there's a lot of language to be rewritten, and Camp Sunshine was almost like a brand new build. Like, it took a long time to get that game up and running on the Switch.
Yeah, of course.
So thankfully it runs great, it plays great. So that's the version everyone will get. But unfortunately with things like that, our hands are tied, and it sucks because the general populace that pre-order, they don't know this. Even though we tell it, they don't watch directs, or they don't see our social media posts, and they don't know. So they attack us, and we're like, well, hold on, wait a minute, like, this is out of our hands. We're doing the best we can. So that's why we try and get the message out in all these directs. We always try to give the updates. We want to be crystal clear with everybody coming on podcasts like this, just to tell there are some things that are unfortunately out of our hands. And that's why we even had the developers. I asked the developers, Fire Chick in the spring, I had them come on and do an apology. And same thing with Paul of Fossil Games. I had him come on this time and say, hey, would you just let them know, like, this is the reason why. And it's good to get them involved too, but it's one of those where it's like, look, we're sorry. We really are. We're trying to prevent this from ever happening again. But unfortunately, sometimes it's out of our hands.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the reality of any business, right? I mean, sometimes things go wrong, and that's just the way it is, But it's great that that it's out. I know that was I think we've talked about Camp Sunshine a few times before, so that's great news. And getting into also great news is just some of these titles that you mentioned with Series 10. I know one that I was really excited about was Alyssa from Casper Crows and Top Hat Studios, which, Alyssa just looks fantastic. For those who don't know, Alyssa is a retro horror throwback, very similar to Resident Evil Silent Hill style of PlayStation 1 survival horror. A bit more of Resident Evil than Silent Hill, but I definitely get like Silent Hill vibes from the kind of creepiness, where the actual action and the controls are a bit more Resident Evil 1 style. But yeah, what can you tell us a bit about Alyssa?
So Alyssa, you are Agent Alyssa. You are going into this creepy dollhouse, and you got to figure out a way out, and you've got to escape. And in standard Resident Evil fashion, there's of course puzzles, but there's also horror. And especially if you're one of those that dolls creep you out, it will really screw with you. And the graphics pay homage to classic PlayStation 1 graphics. It plays extremely well. The team, when we tested it, we all fell in love with it. We said, this has to be our holiday title, like our Halloween title. Like, absolutely. This is modern retro done right. This is where we get the slogan from. This is a true throwback. So if you enjoyed those PlayStation 1 horror games, you will absolutely love this. And, we're happy to be working with Top Hat and Casper Crows. They're a great studio, great publisher, and they put their heart and soul into this release, and we want to do the same with the physical packaging, and the reception has been wonderful, and we're just really happy to keep working and see where that relationship goes.
I really liked the retro style box.
Oh yeah,
that's just that PS1 aesthetic for the retro style box is really cool, with like the black bar down the side. It almost makes me wish that like it was reversible with like a greatest hits version with the green.
It's a little hard to do with the box though.
Obviously, yeah, of course, but it still looks great. Yeah, Alyssa just looks like a really neat game. I really like as you said, the PlayStation aesthetic, and just looking at some of the screenshots I've seen of the game, it looks like it's doing PlayStation horror a bit better than what I've seen from other similar style, like retro throwbacks that I've seen. I can't name any off the top of my head, but just stuff that I've seen on like itch.io or Game Jolt, where it's almost there, but it just doesn't quite get it. And this seems to really, like, with the UI, with the camera angles with the kind of like slow deliberateness of the character. Yeah, very, very nostalgic.
Absolutely. It brings me back to playing the first Resident Evil, and it's just absolutely one of those that, we try and do a holiday game every, at least a Halloween game every fall. Last year we did Sunshine. The year before that, they Bleed Pixels. So it's like, oh, this is a way. And of course, we got to tease it in the summer. We teased Elisa, and the reception was fantastic from the tease. So we're like, oh, this is great.
Like for the Resident Evil, down to that, like the head turn in the trailer, which is like
out
of the
right
zombie
out of
from Resident Evil. Yeah. Oh, I loved it. That was really good.
They knew what they were doing.
100%. Yeah, you guys also, you followed up with some NES updates. You mentioned that all Oratorio orders have been shipped. Jim and Dill 1 and 2 have been manufactured, and Crater Song, which I believe was one of the ones from the summer direct, has ended the pre-order window. But you did have copies of Ore Body, Oratorio, and Bobby 6-7 available on the website. Or at least that's what I saw when I went to the website today. So
yeah, we still have some of those copies in stock, so definitely check those out. These are all aftermarket NES games. They're original games. They're not reprints of existing games. These are done by passionate developers. All our games, you get the full game, you get the dust sleeve, you get the manual, you get the NES style box. It's the same size as an NES box, so will fit in your shelf next to all your other NES games. And these are not Switch ports or anything. These play on original hardware. You don't need any mods or anything. Every one of these games is within the limitations of the NES.
And a new one that you guys announced for this direct was Sunset Land from Rivet Gun Games, which is a Metroidvania, Mega Man, Celeste, Zelda 2, Castlevania 2 inspired game. It actually reminded me a lot of Battle Kid and the Fortress of Peril, comparing it at least to another homebrew, especially the little sprite guy, just the face. His face kind of reminds me of like Battle Kid. But yeah, it looks like a really neat game. This kind of Metroidvania style mixed with like a Mega Man style game.
I really like the jumping mechanic where you get like the energy to be able to carry your double, triple, quadruple jump kind of thing and use that to really navigate around the map. I think that's pretty unique. And then you get like the Mega Man, the slow ball shooter kind of thing.
Yeah, it looks like a lemon.
But it's like that's what you get with the NES. But yeah, and of course all the health, like the health bars, you get the hearts that are very Z2 reminiscent. I know it's built for the NES, but it's built like a classic NES game for sure.
Oh yeah, and the River Gun Games did a great job with this. I mean, Metroidvanias in essence, there's not a lot of them on the NES because Metroid is the original, and Castlevania didn't copy what Metroid was doing until Symphony of the Night. So back on the NES, Castlevania was more classic Castlevania. So you have Metroid, and you really don't have anything else like it, at least in the original NES's library. So to go back with all the knowledge that we've had of Metroidvanias, all the things that worked and what didn't work, and apply that to the NES in 2024 is awesome. And, you really can play around with it and doing things like Celeste with the extra jumps and the combat of like Mega Man. You really can... take it to the next level. And if you enjoy Metroidvanias, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this one. This is just something so unique and original, and dust off the NES and have some fun with it. Like, be like the 80s again, get your cereal bowl and put on cartoons in the background and start boot this up.
And go die in a new NES game.
Yep.
Now, actually, kind of on that topic of the homebrews, and I don't know how much you can speak on this, Barry, but have you guys considered doing like or exploring like SNES homebrews or Genesis homebrews, stuff like that?
We've had internal discussions about that. Yeah, it's all about finding the right game and the right developer.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the right thing comes along, absolutely.
I feel like, at least for SNES homebrews, I feel like those don't get too much love, unfortunately, at least from what I've seen. I know there's some great ones out there.
You should do big back PC games and
floppies.
Install
Bring back
them
the floppies.
Well, you can put it on an SD card and then you send it, and people with Steam Decks could just plug the SD card in.
We have actually discussed that before. We were talking with multiple different developers about doing that in the past. Unfortunately, those discussions never panned out, but we have actually discussed that.
Well, if you can put out something on the I've got a functional Toshiba Windows 98 laptop next to me. If you can get something to work on that, Barry, I'll be very happy.
Oh my God, Throwback.
And man, there's still a market for it too, I think.
Oh, yeah.
With like channels like LGR and all those guys.
We also covered a bunch of Kickstarters in the direct, and we talked a little bit about Sunshine Anthology and Poglings. You guys touched upon it very briefly. I think you just mentioned that Chad Tronick stated that the game is coming along. There wasn't really a big update though, I don't think, right?
No, he didn't have any big update as of now. He's working on one, but he had nothing new to share. But that's why we put the link to his actual Kickstarter updates, because he's always updating there. And in the time in between directs, you could always go there and see the updates.
And for our listeners, Poglings is a kind of like Chow simulator, very similar to the Sonic Adventure Chow, but also it's also an action adventure game of sorts too. So it's kind of
they've got more thing too. They've got like racing. They added like sumo wrestling and fighting, and they've added some new modes and stuff.
Yeah, it looks great. That's a game I'm very excited for. And Crystalla also had an update. I saw that they're currently 31% off for early access on Steam, and Chapter 2, I believe, is releasing soon.
It released already.
Oh, released already. But that's awesome. And Crystalla looks really cool. It's kind of a Souls-like with cats.
And you could go to their backer kit to support them, and that includes getting physical copy for PS5 from us. It's going to be a different version than the ones put on the website. So, and it shows support to these developers. They're fantastic, like some of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah, that's Astral Clock Tower Studios. I think I forgot to mention them, but yeah, it's a great looking game, and I think I tried the demo out. It was pretty fun. I really liked it, so I'm definitely interested in.
Not only is there a demo now, but it's early access on Steam. So like if you do buy it, they're adding to the game. So the version we put out is going to be a while away, because the game has to be completed and then has to be ported to PlayStation. So it's going to be a while. Right. But if you're interested in the game, you can absolutely try the demo now for free. And if you like it, support them with early access, and you get to see the game as it comes out. Like I said, Chapter 2 just came out. They're going to be doing more chapters that are just going to keep add to the game. And it's every time I see the game, it honestly looks so much better. Like they're working so hard on this game.
Yeah.
And right now it's MSRP's for $29.99. The event that you want to check it out.
And Godshard also had an update in terms of Jennifer Steigel, who did vocals for the music in the Lunar series, being performing a vocal track for Godshard, and actually recording in person with the composer for the first time, right? Like I think the composer who she had already sung for, they just sung remotely. Like it wasn't like she actually met the guy. She recorded in a studio in one place and he did his stuff in the other, but this is the first time they've actually been in the same room, which is that's pretty cool. I think that's neat, and I'm sure Godshard is going to be great. It looks like a really awesome game. I really liked some of the updates they were showing with the jumping and climbing implementation. Reminds me a lot of Secret of Mana.
Yeah, the game is still early, and I love that their updates they're showing you as they're doing. Like here's a lot of the behind the scenes that we were able to show everybody. And again, this has a JCat Games Limited. They are working tirelessly on this game. This is their passion. And there's a backer kit, so you can go to the backer kit. You can still get physical copies from us. You could support them in other ways as well. They absolutely deserve your attention. The Kickstarter did extremely well, and it's definitely going to be one of those you do not want to miss.
Yeah, and if people are interested, I am seeing that they have a comic series to kind of go along with telling the story of Godshard Chronicles, which you can pick up. Issues 1 through 4, or at least 1 through 3, are available on Amazon, with 4 being for pre-order. So if people want to explore the world of Godshard Chronicles before you played the game, that is an option. And Atomic Owl also under development. There was a short demo that was shown off. It looks great. At least I thought so. It looks like a really fast-paced, frenetic kind of game.
Oh yeah, that demo is available on Steam, so you can actually download the demo right now and play it. Give it a shot, and they have a Patreon. You could support Monster Theater, but it's also coming from our friends at East Asia Soft, and they're working overtime on Atomic Owl. It was supposed to come out later next year, and they've bumped it up. They've been so motivated from the Kickstarter that happened earlier this year, and we couldn't be prouder to partner with both those studios. So if you enjoy like this, it's almost like a cyberpunk with like a synthwave soundtrack, and it's like action Ninja Gaiden roguelike, give it a try. And support them on Patreon, and we'll have copies, soon once the game is done and finalized, and we get the okay from them saying there's no more content coming.
Yeah, it looks like a great game. The crow sorcerer character, who's that like crow carrying the scythe, looks awesome. I just think he's like like he's such a cool looking guy. It's one of those games that like I kind of wish they were like figures for the characters, like just to like have them like in their poses and stuff.
Maybe there will be. Who knows? You can always let Monster Theater know. Say, hey, we'd love to see figures.
Soul Quest, also from Freedom Games, at the time of the Direct was close to reaching its goal. Since the Direct did reach its goal, which is awesome, and I'm really glad to hear that. And the demo is also available on Steam. And Soul Quest is a really cool looking game. It's that Celtic style hack and slash game. It looks really cool.
It's like a side-scrolling Devil May Cry, which is really, really cool. You get the juggling mechanics and the action, and it's very fluid, and it's a lot of fun to play. Like I said, there's a demo available, and we're honored that they were able to make the goal and that we could help with that. And if there's any backer kit style, stay tuned. I don't have anything about that yet, but I know that Thomas is working tirelessly on the game right now. It's his passion, and he's overjoyed that it made the goal.
The next time we have you on, you'll probably have more info on it.
Yeah, and any new info I'll have, I'll put in the next Direct.
And the last of the Kickstarter updates was Forge of the Fae, which was from Datadyne. And it smashed its goal. It was $15,000 for the goal. It raised $226,000. And that's also a Celtic-inspired game, though a JRPG, very similar to like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy. And yeah, it's just a beautiful looking game. From what they showed in just the short snippets, it's a really gorgeous looking sprite work and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it very much reminds me of like Sea of Stars, which just came out recently, last year.
Yeah.
It's
very similar to Sea of Stars.
Chrono Trigger, it's just this absolute awesome RPG. And what's interesting is some of the team members that are working on Forge of the Fae are actually also working on Godchart Chronicles. So they're actually working on both games. So that's why you're getting this similarity in these classic 16-bit style HD 2D graphics, and just looks all fantastic.
Yeah.
And there will be a backer kit for Forge of the Fae opening soon. They're finalizing everything, but you can go to forgeofthefae.com, and there will be updates there. And of course, once we have an actual backer kit, we will share it out too.
I liked the big frog enemy that showed up in the trailer.
Oh,
yeah. That was very like Final Fantasy like esque. Just this massive frog just pops out. It's just like, oh, that's the enemy. It was great. And the aesthetic also kind of reminds me a bit of it was a Pure Solar in the Great Architects, which is another really great homebrew RPG that was pretty cool. And that will do for the Kickstarter, the little Kickstarter breakdown. And you guys did announce 2 more Series 10 titles. Arcade Tycoon from Squid Punch Studios, which I saw the trailer for this and I said, this looks like a game Seth wants. It is a tycoon simulation game, a little bit of The Sims, a little bit of Roller Coaster Tycoon. You build an arcade, you avoid vandals, you pay your staff, and there are aliens, which, as there should be. And getting your copy through Premium Edition Games will give you 14 arcade machines exclusive to the release, which I thought that was really cool to have that kind of exclusivity situation with getting the physical.
Yeah, we wanted to do something to celebrate, 10 series. When I was talking with Vincent Studios about releasing this, I saw, as I played it, I noticed the arcades are like Viper and Alien, and they're very generic names because I can't put Pac-Man there because Bandai Namco would come right after them. And he's like, yeah, we have a bunch of them, but they're all generic names because we don't have the licenses. And I said, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we could make a premium arcade, put our logo there, and we could get some of our previous games in there, like actual games, we could put them in there. And he was very enthusiastic and said if we could do that, and
you could get the license.
Yeah. So we have wonderful partners that we worked with, and I reached out to them. I said, hey, would you be interested in having your game in here? It would be extra promotion for you. It'd be a celebration of everything we've done. And so many of the developers that we worked with were absolutely cool with it. In fact, we have a few guest games in there. They're like, oh, you didn't do this one, but this is another one of my games. Feel free to add it as well. So we're like, all right, sure, it's another real game. Let's throw it in there. And we decided to make that exclusive for the physical. So it's it's something as an incentive for those that do get the physical. You are getting extra content. So you are getting the full version of the game with those actual real games. Games like Godchild that we just talked about is one of them that's in there. Sunshine Anthology is actually split. There's a Camp Sunshine and a Sunshine Manor. There's a bunch of bunch of games dating all the way back to Super Blood Hockey. It's going right back to Series 1. I believe every series has at least one representation, which is so cool that we were able to get all those in there. And I love the game. I mean, I'm a simulator guy. I've always wanted to make an arcade and open an arcade. I think so many gamers have. This lets you do that. There's multiple modes. There's a sandbox mode where you could just go town to have fun. But there's actually a story campaign mode where you start in your garage and you have limited space and you got to make it work and you have to make up enough money so that you could eventually rent the place and then you can move everything there and then you can rent a bigger place and so on. And you have to like take loans from the bank to be able to do that. You can't just have food in your garage because you need a food license. So you have to pay for a food license to be able to have food. You could run discounts. You could do like, oh, this month, let's, 3 free tokens. You can update every single arcade to change the cost, change the difficulty, tailor it. So if an arcade's just not doing well, make it easier, make it cheaper, try and draw attention. Arcades will break naturally. Arcades will break because people get pissed off. You have to have like repair techs that will come in and repair. Just honestly stuff that does happen in a real arcade. It's a lot of fun if you enjoy these type of games and or if you ever just wanted to open an arcade. This is the cheapest way to do it and see how it would be because there's a lot of management stuff. It's really as deep as you want it to go, and it's a lot deeper than I was expecting. But yeah, you can really just have fun, move your machines around. There's more than arcades. There's like air hockey and stuff like that. So you could really claw machines and skee ball and whatever. Like there's over 400 different games that you could put out there. So it's really, really interesting what you can do. And as somebody who loved like SimCity and Sim Tower, even Samantha was fun back in the day. I was like taken aback when I started playing this. I was like, oh, I'm addicted. We got to get this game.
Definitely feels like a little bit of like your amusement park in a arcade, because like even the concession stands look like you could have like a giant burger or a giant soda fountain for your like concession station and stuff like that. And like I also like just the like rug or whatever that multicolor thing is on the ground is very much like that vintage sticky rug that everyone encountered in
arcades.
I went to an arcade 2 weeks ago, and it was just as busy and just as fun.
Just as sticky.
It was just as sticky.
So you can decorate like the floor, you can change your flooring, you can change the thing on the walls. Even the concessions. Like once you have a license, you can pick what you want, but each type of booth serves different things, but they also take up more room or less room depending. So based on the amount of space, do you want to give it more real estate for a bigger kitchen that serves more food, or do you want a smaller little like hot dog venue that takes up less room, but it's only offering hot dogs, so less of a pull. So you really can have some fun with it. Of course, in the sandbox mode, it doesn't matter. You can just go to town. But I love the fact that they give you a campaign. They give you something to strive for. And you could always replay those levels. Like, oh, I'm gonna see if I could do things differently. And the cool thing is when you move on from like one venue to the next, you keep all the stuff you've researched in that first place. So if you got a food license for your garage, you move to the next place, you already have that food license. You don't have to worry about it.
And you mentioned how deep it goes in terms of like the actual simulation.
Oh yeah.
Like I was looking at a couple screenshots they have for the game. I love the staff breakdown where you can see like what they're doing, their happiness, what you're paying them, their skill in the thing they're doing. But I really just love the ledger, which is just this like full-on spreadsheet with like bar graphs and line charts and stuff. And I'm like, this is so in depth that it's like Roller Coaster Tycoon level of like watching your little chart go up and stuff. I love that because that's stuff that like you don't necessarily always need, but it's fun to have because it's just that extra option, right? Like if you really want to boil down these small little nitty gritty details of like your finances and your year-end spending, you can do that in this game if you really want.
It actually stops you at the end of the year and be like, here's your year, here's how you did.
Please book all your money to the various different expenses. And it's like, okay, it becomes a counting simulator.
There's a lot of accounting in it. I mean, that's what you have to do when you open a business.
There's a lot of accounting in life.
Yes,
There's
exactly.
A lot of accounting.
That's one of the things that surprised me because I thought it was just going to be like, all right, like anything, like generic, anyone can do it. And it does have that pick up and play mentality, but it goes so much deeper when you look into it. And you're like, oh my God, like they added so many things that you can do. Like even when you run a promotion at the end of like if you do a promotion for a month, at the end of a month it'll say how the promotion did and it'll be like, did you lose money on it, did you make money on it, do you want to renew it,
like what's your return on ad spend?
Yes, exactly.
Like, yeah
It's very in depth.
That's why I said it's a Seth game.
Yeah, I'm very much, because I like doing that. I like pretending that I'm good at it, and then I like failing utterly. Or like I just like overrunning on advertising and then having too many people coming in and then being like, oh no.
That's a problem too. You have too many people, not enough machines. People get bored and they leave.
Now, the last game that you guys announced for this direct is I thought was really cool because it's a physical release of a really good looking game. It's also a movie tie-in, which is double the cool, and that's Turbo Kid, which is being developed by Outer Minds, and Turbo Kid is the sequel to the movie Turbo Kid, which came out in 2015, which is a post-apocalyptic story about a kid who rides a BMX bike, and there's a lot of gore and violence. It's a kind of like Mad Max, but with Turbo Kid, and that's what this game is. It's this set in the dystopian year of 1997. It's a Metroidvania style game with some pixelated gore and all sorts of action, and it's just a fun looking thing. And I think it's really cool that it's the official sequel to a movie. It's not just an adaptation of the movie. It's not just something in the style of the movie. It is the canonical sequel to this movie that is a cult classic.
Oh no, it's great. They have like the composer came back, the writer of the comics came back, and worked on the movie. You've got all the characters are there. Like this, like you said, it's an official sequel. And on top of that, it's just a fantastic Metroidvania. Like it's a ton of fun. It's got highly rated. It had a successful Kickstarter a couple years ago. Did very, very well. Just a truly fantastic game.
I love that you can use your bike as a weapon. Like I was just watching a clip of a guy who slides down the side of a wall with his bike. He rides up to an enemy and he jumps off the bike and he just flings it at an enemy and they just explode. And then he just gets back on the bike. Like it's the smoothest looking combat.
Just another day that ends in Y for Turbo Kid.
It is a really cool looking game. Very, very gory, but like it is brutal, some of the deaths.
No, this is a brutal game. This is not a game for kids. But then again, neither was the movie. It wasn't a movie for kids either.
Right, yeah. Very cool though. That was like a surprise seeing that announced in the direct. Like when the music started playing, it was getting me all hyped and stuff. I was like, oh, it's Turbo Kid. I should mention Arcade Tycoon, the pre-orders opened on November 11th, and for Elisa, the pre-orders opened on October 28th. Turbo Kid, the pre-orders opened November 25th, so they are open as of the release of this episode. So be sure to jump on and pre-order your copy if you also want to be a BMX riding hero and throw your bike at people.
And if all three interest you, then you can order the Mega Packs. There are 3 different Mega Packs: the standard Mega Pack, the retro Mega Pack, and the Get Everything Mega Pack. The Mega Packs are a great way if all 3 of the games are games that you are interested in getting, or perhaps you are a brother and perhaps you want to one game one brother wants and one game the other brother wants and another game the brothers will split. You can go in on a Mega Pack with your brother, and so you could always go through with that. And then do you want to just explain the differences between standard, retro, and Get Everything?
Yeah, so the standard is literally just get the standard versions of all 3 releases. The retro is you get the retro editions, which come in the retro-inspired box, which is an N64 or Super Nintendo size, with the soundtracks, and there's another item that we have not revealed yet for each game. And then Get Everything is get the standard and retro for all 3 games, and they're all available at premiumeditiongames.com. What we do with the Mega Packs, because some people just want to get them all, but because we release the games every other week to give time for every game, we put the Mega Packs up day 1. So if you know you're going to get all 3 games, you could just get all 3 day 1, one click. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about coming back and pre-ordering or missing or anything. So we do that just because there's always people that say, I want to get everything, or I want to get all standards. Here you go. You don't have to wait. One click, check out, and you're good to go.
And now all copies come with challenge cards, right? And I don't think you've talked about it in this episode. You talked about it before, but do you mind reminding our listeners what exactly the challenge cards are?
So each of our releases, whether they be pre-orders or not, you get a challenge card. And inside that, or on the challenge card, I should say, is a challenge from the developers. Should you accomplish the challenge, and when you do, you have to take photo evidence with the physical copy and the card in the picture. You could be in the picture, you could be not, you can make funny, whatever you want to do. You have to share it on social media. You got to tag us. You got to let everybody know that they can get their copy at premiumeditiongames.com. Then you got to send us an email with the link and your address and your order number and everything so that we know, where to send you our free patch. Each game gets a patch. You don't have to pay anything. We send that to you as our way of saying congratulations. It's a physical achievement, and it lets the developer know that you're playing the game and you're enjoying the game, and they get to see that, which is awesome. And if you do pre-order, all of our games come with a dog tag. As a pre-order bonus, it is completely free. It is only for pre-orders. It's a little extra way of saying thank you. It's an extra little bonus item, and you want to collect them. We're planning something for the dog tags. We're planning something to give something back to those that have dog tags, or a certain amount of dog tags, as our way of saying thank you. So we're in the discussion of doing some kind of like reward program for the dog tags.
Ooh, like a coffee club.
Your team also still sends out patches for people who do unboxings, correct?
Yeah, we do less and less of those. It's just less and less, unfortunately, are doing the unboxings, which is a shame. But we want people to show off. We put a lot of care into each of these releases. It's different art, high quality. We've raised the quality since we launched the company, and we want to let people see that, because when they buy a premium edition release, it's very different than a standard from another company. Even like Nintendo, very different.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It's in fact perhaps even premium.
And now I know that the hype button was a little different this time around.
It was very different.
You guys indicated that you want to do a lot of focus on the past and not do too much hype for the future. But anything you can give us a little sneak peek for?
Well, like I said, we've got this year we did an extra direct. We did a summer direct. We got more games in the pipeline, and we want to. We had 2 back-to-back unfortunate situations with Super Dungeon Maker and Sunshine Anthology, literally 6 and 7, where there were delays. And we understand, we hear people, we get emails all the time, where is this coming? Where's Super Dungeon Maker? When's Sunshine? I paid, why isn't it here? We understand your frustration. We're frustrated too, and we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. So we instead of just saying, oh, here's the next thing, and just keep throwing stuff out there, we're like, nope, we're gonna take a little bit of break in terms of what we're gonna show off. We're not gonna worry about 2025. 2025 has a lot of great games and potentially more Kickstarters, but we don't want to talk about those right now. We want to focus on what we have put out there. We want to let our time be to getting these games out to everybody, to advertising those games, to getting those pre-orders for Series 10 and for Series 9. We actually left Series 9 up. Normally we take down the previous series. We heard from a lot of people, there's so many games coming out, they don't have the time or the money right now, or they don't want to miss out. We hear you, we understood. We actually left Series 9 up so that Series 9 is still pre-orderable, and that way it gives everybody some time to do it and gives us time to focus, because we are a small studio, and each of these games have manuals. Those manuals just don't magically happen. They have to be written. All the art has to be done and it has to be proofed. It's not just like throw something on a piece of paper in Photoshop in 5 minutes. The developer has to weigh in on it. Yeah, it really has to go to our quality standards. So there's a lot of that has to even happen before manufacturing happens. It's all that production. We got 3 games. We're working on Series 8 right now, which was the spring. We're finalizing the art. We're 3 games in the spring. Series 9 is up on deck. That's 4 games. And now we have Series 10, that's another 3. So instead of going gung-ho on just discussing what's happening, because Series 11 is happening, and we have games for Series 11, 12, 13, etc. We want to focus our attention to getting 8, 9, and 10, and 7 out, and we don't want people to be discussing, oh, this game's coming, say we do a spring or even summer for our next direct, and those are sitting there waiting for that game that we've announced, and in October. No, don't have to worry about it right now. We would have announced something. We decided not to. There is definitely titles coming, but we don't want to do wrong by our fans. So I guess the exclusive is, yes, there's a potential more Kickstarters next year. We haven't said that anywhere, so that is an exclusive. We did say that we had a great 2025, and we do. We got some fantastic games. In fact, just this week I've been talking with another developer about a really cool title for next year. Always meetings, always discussing, always testing, and that's we just want to do right by our customers and by our developing partners and our publishing partners. So that's why the hype button was a little different this time. We opted not to use it, and that's why.
And I think that's fair. I think you guys care about your customers, and I think that shows, and I think it's proof that you care about your customers in the sense that you know when to not hit that hype button, right? Like sometimes you don't want to hit it because you want to make sure that people are satisfied. And I have a lot of respect for that. Some companies, I think, are always looking for the next thing, and it's good to
Always.
sometimes look back.
Well, previously we've usually done 2 series a year. We started in 2020, we did one. In 2022, or 2021, I'm sorry, we did two. We did series 2 and 3, and then in 2022 we did two. We did 4 and 5. So last year we also only did two at 6 and 7, but we did throw in the PlayStation Series 1. We did internally discuss possibly doing four, doing one per season. I'm thankful we didn't because it's a lot of a lot of work. I would never sleep. But we tried. We wanted to see what would happen with three, and we can do three. But the problem is because we're a smaller studio, it's a lot of extra work. It's a lot of extra money, and I think it's like we're gonna be recouping from this year into next year, and we're like, all right, we tried something, we did it, and we know when to push stop. We know when to say, all right, hold on. We're still working with developers. We're still planning for 2025, but we also want to be realistic, and
Yeah.
we don't want our fans to think because I've seen people say like, oh, well, I just still haven't gotten Super Dungeon Maker, so why should I pre-order Elisa? And it's like, I get it, I understand. It was an unfortunate situation. We're doing our best to make sure it's rectified. It's ordered. At this point, we literally are stuck sitting and waiting. There's nothing we can actively do to speed it up. The unfortunate thing is with a lot of those items, there's a lot. I mean, we're talking 5,000 minimum prints. So at the minimum print, you're talking 5,000 manuals, 5,000 inlays, 5,000
Right.
slip
Yeah.
covers.
Yeah.
All that stuff is
absolutely.
coming from overseas, and that's all coming via boat because that's expensive. Paper
Yeah.
is heavy. When you add in that many, it gets very, very heavy. We're talking pallets here. So that's coming via ship. So it's a little bit slower because it's much more expensive to do airmail. So we have to wait. So we're like, we don't want people to get upset, and they're already upset. Especially if it's their first purchase. We get it. We understand the frustration. We're not trying to frustrate you, and we hope that when like Super Dungeon Maker arrives and you get it, you realize that it was worth the wait, and you play it, and you appreciate the fact that you have the entire game on the cart. In fact, when we did it, and this is a little thing. This I don't think we ever talked about this publicly. The developer, or the publisher, I'm sorry, said to us, pass lot check, we're good to go. And there was little DLC familiars in the game. And I said, are the familiars included on the cart? And I said, oh no, they're download though, but they're not included. I said, can we get them included in our version? Can we do this? And they said to us, well, it just passed physical lot check. It's gonna go back through physical lot check now to add those in. And I said, do it right. It's gonna delay. It delayed the ordering a little bit, but we get it on there. Make that game as complete as we can. So they did, and it passed lot check again. So like those are the little things behind the scenes that we knew that it was gonna delay the game by like 4 weeks, which sucks. At least delay us ordering the carts by 4 weeks, and we knew people were mad, but I would rather them be a little upset and have to wait an extra 4 weeks and get the full game on cart with that extra stuff than get it and say, well, this downloaded extra stuff that's not preserved.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We try our best. I mean, we're only human, so we do our best to do right by our customers, and hopefully that shows. And if you're listening and you're waiting on that order, we appreciate your patience. You know, we do apologize that it's taking as long as it did. You know, we work with developing studios that are big, and then we work with them that are small. Sometimes it's just one person. You know, everyone's doing the best they can to deliver the best product, and your patience is very, very valuable to us, and we just really, really appreciate it, and that's why we wanted to show. That's why we put our foot down in public, not just even just on one podcast, right there in the direct. We said no, we were putting the brakes here, and this is why.
Yeah, you guys do good work, and that's why we like to have you on. Seth and I, we like to have people that do good work on our podcast because that makes it seem like we do good work.
It's always surround yourself by the smartest people, so you're not the smartest people in the room, and so when we enter, everyone's smarter than us.
Well, with that being said, Barry, if people want to learn a bit more about Premium Edition games, if they want to learn where to find you and your guys' stuff, or pre-order some stuff, or get some of the stuff that you guys have in stock, I do see you have some games in stock. You have some books in stock and vinyl in stock. So if people want to pick up those things, where can they go and what can they do?
Sure, premiumeditiongames.com. There's a bunch of games that are in stock. A lot of them running low. I will say also, because this is going up Wednesday, we do have, for the first time ever, a Black Friday sale.
Ooh.
That is going to be happening. We never put our games on discount, so there is going to be a sale. It's going to be one day only on Black Friday. So that is something to look forward. That's going to be in stock stuff. But we do also have the pre-orders. Like I said, all of Series 10, the games we talked about today, they're up for pre-order. You can get the Mega Pack. Series 9, which is Bot Gaiden, which is Carl, which is Soul Stalker, and Curse Crackers. All of those are still available for pre-orders, so give them a shot. Still get your dog tag. A lot of things available. We also have NES games in stock as well. Like you mentioned, books. PremiumEditionGames.com. Check it out. You can find us on social, on Twitter or X. It's at Premium Edition 1. You could find us everywhere else at Premium Edition Games.
Fantastic. Seth, do you want to tell people where they can find us?
Sure. Yeah, you can find us wherever you can listen to podcasts, and then also you can find us on our website, which is classicgamingbrothers.com, and you can follow our socials. We are on Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook at Classic Gaming Brothers, and Twitter and Blue Sky at CG Brothers Pod. And then is there anything else that I'm missing?
Don't play games like my brother.
And don't play games like my brother.
And don't play games like me.
I've been Seth.
I've been Zach.
And I've been Barry.
And we've been the Classic Gaming Brothers.
And
Barry.
That's right.
That's right.